Hello and welcome to day 3 of the Art of Life video series. And as I promised yesterday at the end of my short video, we're going to talk about self-identity and self-concept today. This is actually one of my favorite parts about the work. I think I say it every time, but I personally feel like this is super, super impactful because we're really looking at how we view ourselves. And of course, we're talking about a self-led growth journey. So this cannot not be impactful. Okay, so I'm going to start by reading the questions and kind of answering that I have all written down over here. So first of all, we gotta recap real quick day 1 and day 2. Day 1 was me really going into what is the art of life? How are we using the process of making something with our hands as a reflection for really creating masterful lives, being a master at how we use the tools that we were given by this realm, which is laws of vibration, laws of cause and effect, all the great universal laws. And how are we using the functions of our human technology very, very well, getting better over time to really begin to create what it is we want to create in this life. And I was thinking about it and writing about it this morning more in my journal because I'm always looking for ways to express this so that it feels relevant to you. And what came up with today, what came through was the version of us that's calling us forward, because there is a call forward. We can't deny it. And when we do deny it, we don't feel great. So that's a part of what the art of life is to be recognized that we're being called forward, to honor that we are being called forward, to trust that we are being called forward, and, to work the nuts and bolts, to work our art tools really well. Okay, so, and then day 2, yesterday we talked about vibration and, oh my God, why? Thoughts, feelings, beliefs, patterns. And again, we are going to always be getting deeper, more in depth, grow bigger roots, wider, deeper, longer, around all of this in the course, which I'm super excited about. Okay, so self-concept and self-identity. What beliefs do you hold about yourself? That in and of itself could be the mic drop moment. What beliefs do you hold about yourself? So this is just so important because, as we were saying before, we're always filtering our creative energy through the beliefs we hold. And it is so, so imperative to get really clear on the beliefs that we're using about ourselves right now. And the beliefs that we use to think about who we were, the beliefs that we use to think about what's possible for us. So what is a self-concept? To me, a self-concept really is like how I view myself in this current iteration, how I view myself in the past, how I view and create my future. So I'll share a little bit about how it used to feel for me when I was using a totally different self-concept to think about who I was in the past. So, for example, let's use, where do we start? Um, let's use one that was very real for me, that I was a bully. Because I'll use the ones that have really helped me see my heart and has helped me to practice self-compassion. So, if I viewed myself as a bully fully for the whole entirety of my life, then I would probably enact that out more and more. If I continued to only view myself as the party girl, which I was for a very long time, that's the belief that I had, the thoughts, the feelings, the patterns that I was in. And so I did express that for a very long time. And then my belief about that phase in my life when I first started this journey was shame. Same with the bully. The belief was, I'm shameful, I'm guilty, I'm bad, I should never have done that. Those are ways that I was really using my creative energy to feel the feelings of shame, wrongness, I'm not enough, I'm bad, I'm wrong. And over time, because we're always talking about the overtime journey, right? We're talking about the long game. We're talking about the micro shifts. So over time, as I learned to make peace with myself, as I learned to forgive myself, as I learned to come to understand how impactful my thoughts about myself were, I learned, okay, is this how I want to use my energy? Is this the feeling tone that I want to carry with me about myself through life? Is this something I want to continue? Because remember, we're always in choice with what we get to choose about how we feel about something, how we think about something, how we believe about something. That is fucking awesome and powerful, because then we get to choose to move our creative energy in a different way forever and ever. Amen. So when I started to learn the work of changing my thoughts, like say something would come up in conversation, or if you're like me, you have flashbacks because of trauma. When those certain things, or life and I would feel like a failure again, and like I can never get this right, I would have a choice. Do I still continue to feel this way? Am I still viewing my self-concept? Is my self-concept still the same as I'm full of guilt, I'm full of shame, I can never get it right, I'm never going to change? No. Over time, no. Over time, okay, no, I'm not that anymore. Who am I now? Then you're working on creating that self-concept. And depending on where you are in your journey, you're always moving towards the next best feeling thought, like I was saying in yesterday's video. The next best feeling thought will always offer you a higher vibration in the creation of the self-concept that you want. So I knew, for me in my journey, I knew that I was here to learn and that I had a big vision. Like ever since I was little, I had a big vision. I didn't really know what it was, but I felt like this bigness. And if you've heard me talk about the intense energy of who I am, the energy that I hold, all of that, I felt it, I knew it. And so I knew that that was a guiding light. And I believe that we all have that. How can we not? That's what I believe is like pulling us forward. We may speak about it differently. We may interact with that vision or feeling differently. It might look and feel so different. Like, how can it not, right? But it is in you. I recognized it from a small girl, and I think that was part of really what helped me to move through these really intense phases in my life that were so debilitating at times, that could have really I could have I could not be here, you know? I could not be here because of just how extreme some of these experiences and behaviors were. In fact, I remember asking my first therapist, like, how am I still here? How am I still here? I don't know. That's not up for me to answer, but I just always kind of felt like a little bit protected. And now I know that it was this intense, beautiful knowing of faith that I now hold and foster and facilitate and cultivate deeply, deeply every day. So, your self concept is created around your thoughts, beliefs, feelings, patterns, experiences that you're having in the world. And also, we always have opportunity to shift and change that. What creates a self concept? Well, from a very young age, who were you told you were? From a very young age, we all know this, we're adults, but I'll repeat it again. From 0 to 7, we're those sponges. We're doing what mom and dad want us to do so we stay safe, even though it's not what we probably really want to do all the time or doesn't feel right, but we need to be safe and belong. And so we oblige at, I'm at the crux of what I believe about this, but I'll just say it at the cost of who we really are. Yes, and also, if I didn't grow up with who I grew up with and go through what I went through, I wouldn't be here and doing this and being alive in this way, and the threads. So I also believe that we choose our parents according to the life bigness, the pulling forward that we're here to do, what our soul is set out to do in this lifetime, no matter what it looks like. And that can be hard when you love someone and you're like, why can't they just see this and that and da 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 da? Like, you literally have no idea what someone's soul came to do in this lifetime. So, who were you told you were? Who were you asked to be when you were little? Were you asked to be the good girl, like you had to get grades or else or else or else? Or for me, like, if I kept the self-concept of who I was now, of who I was then and what I was told I was by the outside world, it would be destructive, bad, always getting kicked out, a nuisance, like too loud, very much too much, very, very much too much, destructive, all of that, failure, all of that. So you will always be reflected what you're currently enacting and inner beliefs are reflecting, even when we're a kid, and also we get to grow from that. So, what established identity did you have as a child is what I wrote down. So you fill in the blanks there. That's a beautiful question for you to sit with if you're curious about how your self-identity from when you were a child, like, are you still kind of feeling the same way about yourself and your surroundings as you did when you were a child? Nervous, afraid to take risks, quiet, shy, but really you like have this in you and you want to share it. Like, but I'm this. I've always been this way. Ooh, that's a good one. And there's like these truths to, like, our ultimate truths of who we are, for sure. And those are, like, again, they'll all have a frequency, right? Like, they'll have a frequency. For me, I've always been too much. I've always had a lot of energy, but I know that for me now, that is like the thing that I cultivate and foster and use the most in my work. you know, whether or not the outside world, talks about me behind my back or whatever. That's none of my business because the energy feels alive and good. But if you're using a frame of mind of I've always been this way and it's not feeling good, that's something to look at. Who gave you that? Who told you that? Whose story did you borrow about yourself? Okay. Positive or negative? How are you using that to frame your current identity? So I've always been this way. I was told this and this and this about myself, and I believe them, and that I created my life that way, and I've always believed that way, but now I'm at this place where it doesn't feel like that's actually who I am. So how are you using those beliefs that you were given as a child to create your life, and is it serving you? What's the feeling tone? We're always going to come back to the feeling and the energy. What's the feeling tone of that? What's the vibration? Feel good? Great. Not like, we want it to feel better. Not good? Let's get real about it. Let's get real about it. You can choose. Written right here. Okay, what else? Why does your self-concept matter as you move through your life? I think I really explained that already, because if it's not aligned with how you want to feel, does it make you feel happy, healthy, whole, holistic? I'm going to sneeze. Does it make you feel good? Like, again, I'm always going to reference this. It's not about always being high vibe, but we are looking to create a new default vibrational setting that feels good and alive, so that our, like, all systems go as much as possible. All systems go. Okay. Okay, we've got to read my writing. Okay, I'm going to share one exercise that I love to do, and we'll expand on this in the course for sure, but it's really about using clothing, using your closet, what you choose to put on your body, to create a new self-concept. And for those of you that have been around for a while, you know that I can probably look different one day to the next. I've been told you're kind of like a shapeshifter, and like you can wear this one thing, and then what does Alex say? What did he say to me? I asked him one time to define my style, and he's like, I don't know, you can be like a gangster one day and a cowboy the next. And for me, that's being creative. For me, my self-concept is very much an artist, a creative, someone willing to like feel different experiences through different clothing. Like today, I'm buttoned up and I'm teachery and I don't have a hat on and I've got hoops on and red lips. Why is my nose so itchy? I'm not going to stop the video and try and edit that out because we're 18 minutes in and I don't know how to edit a video yet. So I'm just itching my nose on video. Okay, so one of the ways that I use this work for myself is to envision, and again, we're going to get more into this work around knowing how you want to feel and calling that in and creating the vibration, all of that, but this is part of it. When you're really working to call in, co-create, bring in the experiences, the physical items, like when you're manifesting in your life, how you feel is the most important part, one of the most important parts, because you are connecting your vibration intentionally to how you want to feel as you're receiving. So again, we're speaking to capacity to hold the good feelings, capacity to hold all that money coming in, capacity to hold the new partner, business partner, new job, whatever scenario that you are really feeling called forward to, the feeling that you feel as you're creating that, who you're becoming when it's here, is totally so important. So I use dressing myself as a part of that. So my self-concept in this iteration of my journey is teacher, is someone who shows up, feels, looks professional, and but also still artistic and in her own vibe. And so I practice that. I choose clothing. I have done a lot of really intentional purging the last little while as I'm stepping into this new self-concept. So I've purged a lot. I've gotten really clear. Pinterest is a great way to really play with like your wardrobe. And of course, thrifting is so fun in this way because there's endless options and you get to use a budget that feels abundant for you, right? Some thrifted items, like if you're going into more of a, if you feel like, okay, I want to step into the higher end version of myself, like I'm really ready to step into the high end version of myself. I see myself driving this or, going on this type of vacation, wearing this and all of that. There are plenty of stores that will hold that vibration and those items for you, but there's also really cool curated thrift stores that will be a different price range. It's up to you. Always what feels abundant. So I'm not going to thrift anymore. So this is a shift in self-concept for myself as well. I'm not thrifting anymore necessarily because I can get a steal of a deal and I'm saving so much money. I'm going to thrift stores way more selectively with an intention of knowing what I'm looking for. And if I don't find it, then I'm not going to buy it. If it's according to how I want to feel, if it fits into, again, we're being deliberate, we're being intentional about who we're becoming. And going in the thrift store, just like grabbing everything and like, I've done it. And my self-concept is no longer supporting that type of purchasing anymore. And in fact, I'm over that belief that I only want to buy secondhand things. I'm into that belief where, okay, I'm willing to buy something new if it fits this, and this, and this. And it, there's a list there, there's an intention, there's a whole vibe around that. So one of the ways you could currently look at your self-concept in the way of how you're dressing yourself, is it aligned with how you want to feel? A lot of times, especially in this season of going into spring, it's not. That's just how it is in seasonally here, but oftentimes it's not just in general. So we're not honoring how we want to feel. We have all sorts of self-concept ideas and images about our body, all of that. So your body will come into your self-concept. I'm lazy, I'm this, I'm that. There's so much there. And of course, this is so beautifully guided during the course. And this is one of the modules that I am going to always be inviting in the grace, right? That gentle, graceful observer of the beliefs that we're currently holding. We're never ever shaming ourselves for what we currently believe, because so often those beliefs aren't even ours. And they're holding patterns that we've held forever and probably our lineage has held, but we have no idea about until we do the excavating work. So it's super, super powerful. Okay. I don't know if that's for today. Okay, I'll say one final thing that I think is super important when we're looking at our self-concept. How is this current self-concept keeping me safe? Safety is such a big thing for humans in general, but women in particular. We are just out in the world more vulnerable by just our essence and our nature. I don't have to tell you that. So we are always looking for safety in some ways. Like, I wish I wish I could remember who said it and the exact story about how men and women differ. Actually, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to say it. So, say men and women were telling someone where something was in a trail. A man would be like, it's here, go here and go here. Very straightforward. Like men are very singular focused is the best way to say it. Men are singular focused. Women that run more masculine energy really can work with that singular focus very well. The feminine, we're telling people where where all the bushes are, where the landmarks are. Okay, you'll get berries here, and then on this little area there'll be the cherries, and then over here you can gather this and you can gather that. Like, that's kind of how we're telling stories. You can probably tell it in how I teach, is like we're always trying to give the picture for a number of reasons. So we know what's around us always. We're aware of our surroundings because we are more vulnerable. Safety is innately like what we're looking for, also because we have young with us. Naturally we're nurturing, so we're always feeling safe. We're always like, the safety factors is just innately important to us and our survival. So therefore, what self-concept are you currently using to create your life that is keeping you safe, but is actually not serving who you're being called forward to be? Damn, that's a good, big, juicy one. That's one I use very, very often to really get connected to, all right, I know I'm always being called forward. How can I look at what pattern, what belief am I using, how am I seeing myself that, like, I can't do that. I could never do that. I can't do that. I'm not smart enough for that. Da 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 da. Strong enough, old enough, young enough. The things. I'll leave you with that. This is a little longer than yesterday. I feel really excited about diving into this, and this is a beautiful one. This module will be really great because we'll have a community aspect to where the course is being held, so we can share. And sharing the ahas of our self-concepts and beliefs, and really all of it, is so, so powerful because we are all way more alike than we are different. And it really is beautiful to see how others are experiencing their own stories, self-concepts, beliefs, and all of it. So you're alone, and then you can also support each other to move through them. Okay, I love you. That's day 3. We'll see you for day 4 and day 5. And as always, if this feels like something you'd want to share to someone, someone might need to hear it, please share it and comment and all the things. Interaction is beautiful. Okay, love you. Bye.